So great. Namaskaram, Satchi Anna. Very nice to have you here.
Namaskaram.
So, yeah. So, hi everyone. This is Dr. Satchi. I know him because he is also in Isha and we've kind of interacted for some volunteer work. And he is he's a doctor, basically, an MD in general medicine. And he's also specializing in diabetology and respiratory disorders. So it's actually very relevant for COVID and today's times. The reason specifically I am inviting him here is because we want to discuss about integrative medicine, because he had earlier shared with me his passion for integrative medicine, and also that he, while volunteering with Isha, because Isha has a lot of these rural outreach programs, so they have the rural hospitals, and along with that, at some point they had these Arogya centers in urban areas in a few of the Tamil cities. So in that, he actually experienced integrative medicine where a bunch of different doctors from different streams worked together. And that when he spoke to me about it, it really remained in my memory, because until that moment, I just thought of all of these streams as separate, because I am also someone who's, obviously I consult allopathy, but I have a proper Ayurvedic doctor, which I constantly consult. And recently I spoke to a homeopathic doctor just like that, because some of my relatives, they actually got through COVID just on homeopathy medicine. And all of us in the family were totally shocked, because we were like, how did they even do this? Because we wouldn't have the trust to do that. We would obviously go for allopathy and homeopathy if at all, but these guys just went for homeopathy. So anyway, all of this, I also am always, consulting these couple of paths, and we are always looking at home remedies. I think in India in general, we are always looking for home remedies to solve our problems if possible, and we will go for medical stuff later on. So in that sense, when Satchi Anna said that, these doctors could actually work together, that would be so awesome, because right now for me, all my doctors are completely siloed. Like if I talk to the allopathy doctor and say, I have taken Ayurvedic medicines and this has helped me, they don't know how to respond. They don't know. There's just a huge silo. And even sometimes I'm getting allopathic doctor giving me some tests to be done. If I go to the testing center, those guys will say, but this will not help you with this. Why are you doing this? If you want to do this, you should go for some other test. So it would be awesome for me as a patient if I had integrative medicine. And I think when Satchi Anna spoke about it, I was also so touched. I'm like, oh my God, this would be very awesome. So now with, especially with the Swami Ramdev controversy, Swami Ramdev and the Indian Medical Association, they are going on loggerheads. I really thought of this thing with Satchi and had spoken to me, and I said, let me see if he can come. And I am so happy that he also has come on this video chat, and we are able to have this conversation. So welcome, Satchi.
So thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this giving your slot here for me, and also you seem to be so happy to bring me into a controversy line to get me
it's
between Swami Ramdev and IMA. So like whenever actually, what Sadhguru used to say when we started Isha Arogya, he said, it's not Isha Allopathy, it's not Isha Ayurveda, it's not Isha Siddha, it's just Arogya. So the motto of Arogya is simple, it's Arogya for every individual, that's all. Whatever systems of medicine, whatever be the system of medicine, ultimately a patient wants health, that's all. Patient comes to you to get health. So what system in which you are going to give the health doesn't matter. So this allopathic system, it works for the acute care, the emergency care, the infectious diseases were conquered by allopathic medicine. So the strength lies there. And Ayurvedic, Siddha, and Indian systems of medicine have a long traditional history, and they have stood the test of times also. So they must have, even though the scientific validation, the validity of this medical system is scientifically not 100% covered, but they are standing the test of times, and it is our natural and habitat medicine. So they should also be inculcated in a proper way so that people achieve health. That's all. So the problem comes, especially we were mentioning between Swami Ramdev and IMA. I personally feel that it's not about Ayurveda versus allopathy or Siddha versus allopathy. It's just people's egos clashing against each other. That's all I would say. So, uh, so looking at a wider perspective, looking the picture as a whole uh, will give solutions. But when you look things from your side and when the other side looks things from their side, the possibility of getting together diminishes, and the scientific inquiry uh, gets closed at that point. So even a science person has to be open enough to see what is what. That is my point. And being people who are inclined towards spirituality, we are open for everything. So that's why we broke the barriers and we sat with a Siddha doctor. First of all, allopathic doctor should keep his his ego and his things aside, and the Siddha doctor should do the same to come together and offer something to the people. So it was possible because the people in Isha were spiritually oriented, and we came together and we did things, and they really did help people. So that's my experience actually with Isha Arogya centers.
So where you feel this problem is lying, because the way Swami Ramdev has been known to make a lot of very strong statements from long time, and at the same time he is coming from the other stream, and at the same time if you see allopathic doctors, uh, lot of them have very varied opinions on all this traditional medicine, and a lot of times they are also making very scathing remarks. Like on Twitter itself, I know so many times where just because, like this in COVID itself, there is the example that certain patients who are on oxygen, they will remove their oxygen mask and have that camphor. They'll start smelling camphor. Then again, they'll put the oxygen mask. And such cases have come up, and the allopathic doctors are just so scathing. They are like, just leave all of this. So my point is, the scathing remarks are coming from both sides, and I'm sure that's in that specific incident, it may be valid, because if somebody inappropriately uses either medicine, it is probably quite valid. But what you're talking about, which is the larger picture, how do we even get there? Because I just don't see that larger picture conversation happening at any level in the public domain. I mean, so what are the hangups that are coming in?
Like, so actually, allopathic system rests its base on evidence. Okay, the modern scientific system, modern scientific medicine rests its base on evidence. So for an evidence to be produced, for example, if you have to prove a drug that is really working for a particular disease, it has to undergo rigorous trials, clinical trials, which has to be systematically done. We say it as randomized controls. So at least you should have you should spend crores of money to prove that a drug is worthy. Okay, this clinical trials, for that to happen, you need lot of resources. But when you do this, after coming through this rigorous trials which involve resources, you get an evidence that a drug is working or not. Based on that, those drugs which pass the test, they get approved and they get come to the market, and we use it. This is how allopathic system runs basically. But Ayurvedic systems and Siddha systems, they have been in text in our ancient text which are carried through centuries. Okay, so we have not validated this entire thing. They have come over traditions, and even those traditions, many people have kept many Vaidya as rahasya. They have not opened it. And they have not opened it up, and many Vaidya systems in these streams of medicines have been lost from us. And scientific temper to validate these medicines, is extremely difficult, because Swami Ramdev tries to do trial, and he has done a trial on some coronal, but these trials do not, but these trials did not qualify to the rigorous scientific temper of modern allopathic medicine. But we know this. But we know for sure that these are the herbs which can be given as a preventive thing, or a curative thing in the earlier stages of a disease. That is possible with Siddha and Ayurvedic systems, but we can't prove it. So that is the problem. If you can come and prove through the rigorous trials involving lot of resources, if you come and prove, we will accept that medicine also as a scientific medicine.
But is
so the conflict comes there. The basic problem lies there. All the other ego issues, all the other scathing remarks are a byproduct of this basic difference between these two medicines.
But is it only about the resources then, or is there some other issue with doing that rigorous testing?
The resources are the main concern, Akka, because for a research purpose, for a research thing to happen, you need to have a lot of funding. Okay, in India, what is happening in our medical system is we are consumers. We are consumers of science. We are not producers or inventors of science. That is what is happening in the last 75 to 100 years. Okay, the inventors and the producers, the scientific temper, the resources are lying with the West. They are able to conduct the clinical trials. They are able to come out with molecules. All those things they are able to do because they have a lot of fund and granting to do that. So they take the step forward. Even the Chinese take the step forward. Chinese traditional medicines, many Chinese traditional medicines have got approved in US FDA, United States Food and Drug Act. Many Chinese remedies have got through the US FDA, but very little Indian medicines or Siddha and Ayurvedic herbs have got through US FDA as drugs. They get approval as nutritional supplements. That is a different thing. But when you are going to give a molecule as a drug, it has to pass through rigorous clinical trials, which Chinese are doing a bit, but Indians we are not able to do at all because of the resources. Main thing is resources. I can tell it for sure. So the basis of the problem, basis of the conflict lies here only. Why the mainstream medicine is not accepting, is not validating Ayurveda, even though as an individual doctor, he can experiment a Siddha medicine or Ayurvedic medicines to few of his patients, and he can find on his own experience that this medicine is working, and he can support an Ayurvedic doctor, and he can buy on his own and give medicines. But when you want to do it on a mass scale, on a population level, you are asking when to take this conversation on a population level. If you want to take this conversation on a population level, the first thing you need to do is to take steps. The government should take, the Ayush ministry has to take steps towards implementing and getting these herbal formulations a scientific approval that is necessary. And the institutions like AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, have a complementary Indian System of Medicine division, and they are doing some very good work in this aspect of validating the Ayurvedic medicines in certain diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis. They have found out certain combinations of drugs are really effective. Combination of Ayurvedic drugs along with the allopathic drugs. They have done good studies, good validated studies, and they have approved certain usage of certain Ayurvedic medicines for certain conditions. As I mentioned earlier, rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis, they have done studies. But they are able to do only in a little scale. Even the premier most institution of India, who is getting crores of sanctions for research, they are able to do it only in a small scale. So the problem lies there only. So for the entire Ayurvedic system or the Siddha system to get validated and to get standardized is a difficult thing. Actually, is a difficult thing, but it is not an inachievable thing.
What is the way forward with this integrative medicine? Like, how do you were saying there were certain efforts being made? So
yeah. So like it has been, it is already happening globally. Globally, it is already happening. In terms of business also, the Ayurvedic drugs and Indian drugs, not as a drug, I earlier mentioned, as nutraceutical supplements for health supplements, Western people are looking towards Indian system of medicine, traditional Chinese system of medicine also is taking, all these two things are making a good competition at the West in terms of healthcare wellness industry. This industry is having a huge response from the West. Okay, so the researchers are also getting interested because of the rising trend towards living consciously, towards eco-friendly living, towards crafting a conscious planet. All these things are getting recognition worldwide. So the reputed universities like Harvard, Indiana University, all those things, they have a separate wing in the name of a complementary and alternative system of medicine, CAM therapy, they say. So all these reputed universities are starting to take up basic researches, basic scientific researches, up to the level of genetic expressions. They are taking up many basic medical studies with respect to yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda, Siddha, and everything, the drugs. All those things are slowly they are getting tested, in the West, starting to get tested in the West. And the world is moving towards that. And the industry, the people, the want of the industry is decided by the people's mindset. Okay, the industry gives what the people wants. So the rising consciousness among people towards moving towards natural remedies, the industries are going to invest in those way only. But again, the problem will come because our system of medicine, the ancient system of medicines, they stand on polyherbal formulations. They do not, for example, you take turmeric. Turmeric has 100 different alkaloids in its whole form. When turmeric is taken as a whole, it has 100 different alkaloids. Okay, but what the West is trying to do, West is always industry oriented and business oriented and profit oriented. Your expectation is you want to have turmeric soap. Okay, you want to turn towards turmeric, but the West wants to capitalize on it. Okay, so we extracted the active ingredient from turmeric, which is called curcumin. Okay, curcumin is an active ingredient of turmeric, and they are making tablets, curcumin tablets, and they are doing research over curcumin as a molecule.
Yeah,
how it affects the human system. The research are taking place in that direction. So we can, even though this is the way in which the West and the science are going to progress. They are going to extract the active principles of neem, turmeric, and all those different herbs, and they are going to do the studies, and they are going to get these molecules into the market in a huge way. Already they are doing, but it will be accelerated in the next 10 to 15 years. But the basis of our system of medicines lies not in a single molecule. The systems of traditional systems of medicine, it is not a uniform system like allopathy, which we can give for every individual. Paracetamol is the same drug which can be given for every individual, irrespective of his gene, irrespective of his caste, creed, everything. Okay, paracetamol works in a uniform way. But Siddha and Ayurvedic systems are individualized systems. So same medicine cannot be given for two different persons with the same disease.
Yeah.
They look at their doshas,
Prakriti
they
and
look
all
at
that.
their constitution, everything, vitality, and it differs. So the probability of combining these two medicines in their own form, combining these two streams of medicine in their own form is not going to happen in the near future, because the principles of both the medicines differ. The principle is monomolecule, single molecule principle is the basis of allopathic medicine. Polymolecular principle is the basis of Indian systems of medicine. Holistic medicine is Indian system of medicine. So when you want to combine both, the persons who are going to deliver these two medicines have to come together and deliver it on an individual level. So that is what we have to take it at a micro level, and on macro level we need to push up, we need to trust to the scientific community to increase the scientific validity of our medicines. This is the way forward.
Right. Yeah, I think Sadhguru was also mentioning that when it comes to the medicine preparation, there are a lot of difficulties, because even the same batch of Ayurvedic medicine, if you check all of them, there are some efficacy issues and stuff.
You came to the point, right? So this is what I was trying to tell, but I just forgot during the conversation. Actually, if you take a particular herb, for example, Triphala. Okay, Triphala is a drug, is a commonly used Siddha and Ayurvedic drug. And you have three different ingredients in that. Kadikai, Nellikai, and Tandrikai. I just forgot their English names. So these three different herbs, when they have different qualities depending upon the soil in which they are grown. Okay, in northern Tamil Nadu, they have different flavor. I'm not telling about India, I'm just telling about Tamil Nadu. In northern Tamil Nadu, they have a different flavor. Southern Tamil Nadu has a different flavor of the herb. So every batch has a variability. So you cannot, it's a very, very hard process to standardize these medicines. It's a very, very hard process to standardize these medicines. And this is a challenge which has to be overcome by humanity, and especially Indians, to address these kind of issues. Also, Sadhguru says, because of the environmental deterioration, the topsoil is getting, we are losing the topsoil. You should have heard during Kaveri calling campaigns and Nadi campaigns and all. We are losing the fertility of the first 5 to 6 inches of the soil, the most fertile part, and the most the topsoil in the last 25-30 years. And we are losing the fertility of the soil also. So when the fertility of the soil is lost, the herb which you are going to grow in this soil is also going to lose its potency. Okay, when you are going to when raw material is going to be less potent, how far the drug is going to work with the patient? So that is also a big question which needs to be urgently addressed by environmentalists, urgently addressed by the scientific community, especially the traditional systems of medicine practitioners and the government, who, if at all, the Ayush ministry, who have a inclination to grow the system of Ayush to a different level. Means first we should have potent herbs. For that we should have a potent soil. That's very, very important. Sadhguru, what he does is he addresses the basic things. He addresses the basic things, basic issues, and it has to reach the ears of the administrators, and the steps have to be taken in that direction. But what could right now be done is, especially in this COVID situation, I request my fellow allopathic colleagues as well as people from Ayurveda and Siddha to lose their egos, to shred down their egos, and come together and be open enough to speak to them, speak to the other system of medicine. Because Ayurvedic doctors, they just disregard as allopathy as some sort of business enterprise. The allopathic doctors just brush aside Ayurvedic system and Siddha system as some sort of non-scientific rubbish. And this should not be the way, because allopathic system, we know it is having some scientific base, and it is having a far-reaching, it is a mainstream of medicine. That's okay, fine. We cannot neglect that. And at the same time, Ayurveda and Siddha have stood the test of times, and it's our own medicine. It has been in our country for years. So this is what we have been practicing hundreds of years ago. But how to make, but this was the hundreds of years ago, these systems of medicine, we also should not forget, these systems of medicine were a privilege of the elite class.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
150 years ago, these Ayurvedic system and Siddha system of medicine, primarily they were serving the elite class. There is some socio-political element also is involved in this, in the delivery of these systems of medicines to the general public in those times. Yeah, it was there. So making these system Ayurvedic and Siddha systems of medicine as medicine for the entire population, entire population, irrespective of their hierarchy, this should be delivered by the Ayurvedic. This should be taken over by the Ayurvedic and Siddha physicians to make this available to every citizen of the country. So that work rests with the graduates of Ayurvedic and Siddha systems of medicine. That is their responsibility. But at this time, in this COVID crisis, the doctors should have an open mind to accept what is working, what drug can be given, which could additionally help the patient. If it is not going to harm the patient, what is the problem in giving the drug? Unless it is not going to rob his pocket. You, allopathic doctor, should unless it is not going to rob the patient, unless it is not going to cause any harm to the patient, why not you prescribe that medicine which is advocated by your Ayurvedic colleague? You can try. Homeopathic colleague comes up with an idea, means you can try these patients. You have a lot of patients. You have patients in every home. This is the time to do that, to find out things, better things from the other systems of medicine, and try to get inculcated, try to inculcate all these systems of medicine in one umbrella. This is a good opportunity, and I have been doing that on my front also.
No, and I think in general, it has been happening because not through allopathic or either system, but right from the beginning that COVID hit, there were a lot of volunteers from different organizations just spreading some traditional medicines. They used to even give unmarked packets, which I personally found very scary because they were literally giving packet of pills, but they just said this is Ayurvedic or homeopathic or whichever medicine. Siddha also, that Nilavembu Kashayam and Kabasura Kudinin and all, everywhere it started showing up, and I think everyone took to it also because Kadas and all was anyway being prescribed at a much larger level. And all of these tablets, traditional medicines found their way freely given by a lot of organizations. And I think people also realize that allopathy for a change doesn't have a medicine. So we have something here that we can fall back on. So it is a good thing. And I think if the doctors all come together a little bit, it will be good for us also because all of us are being exposed to it. Like what I mean is we are all exposed to multiple medicines right now. And and the situation is so scary that even people who might be very staunchly allopathic, I'm sure a lot of them have considered that let me just take this if it's preventive, why not? If the doctors come together, it will be very useful because for me also, like I also got COVID and I had the long COVID thing. Like, so I consulted everyone because I had Ayurvedic doctor, I had allopathy. Allopathy, after the point, they had given up and they said, just be thankful you didn't get worse COVID. Because they didn't have anything. Like one of the things that I got was dry eyes, which I had never had dry eyes before, but after COVID, I had very bad dry eyes. And my work is completely on the laptop. It's very difficult for me. It was very problematic for me. And the allopathic, I consulted 2 or 3 really trusted doctors, and they said that, see, you can take the eye drops, which are the refreshed tears. That's all you can take. We cannot tell you anything. We have nothing more. Just be thankful it didn't go worse. Then I took a whole Ayurvedic course for it, which helped a lot. It improved it 70 to 80%, but still it was not gone. Then, I went to Isha Yoga Center for some days and I took a dip in Tirthakund. That helped me. That helped me another 10%. Then I've started doing some coconut oil thing, which also I got from some Ayurvedic online course. Finally, more or less, and I took my second vaccine dose. That finally, all of this came together and it is almost gone. But it lasted for me.
I think the
It
I think the
lasted
disease
some
has taken
10
its
months.
natural course.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know
the
what
disease
happened,
has
but
taken its natural course.
yeah, but the whole thing took 10 months in my life, and a lot of times it was very difficult because the eyes and the headache and all, it was creating so much problem. But finally, through so many means, little improvement, and like you're saying, I'm sure the vaccine may have also helped because a lot of people are saying after the second vaccine dose, their long COVID symptoms are going away and all. So, so much of amalgamation has happened. And so for me, I was very pained when I saw this whole thing happening between Ramdev and IMA, because I said, see, this is not the time, because we are all having this amalgamation taking place in our life. It could become a beautiful opportunity for us to move to a more integrative system of medicine. Instead, don't do this thing. Don't, because everything is helping, in its own ways. I don't think one stream can say that stream is useless. No, that stream can say this stream is useless. It's just not the time for doing this. So
Yeah,
that is all.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So the thing has to happen like, um, this is not the time. This is the time.
Yeah.
This is the time to find out what are all the remedies which are really helping people. Be it an allopathic ivermectin or a doxycycline or a remdesivir or something like plasma. They undergo trials. They find out what is useful, what is not useful. All those things have been done worldwide over these medicines. Let us also in India, let us also do it in a small way. Even you have resource constraint. Yeah, we have a lot of patients as a resource. So many patients are coming. Just try the medicines. When you don't have any option, why not you give this and see?
And
Why
it's
not you
not like
give
we are giving
this
any
drug and see?
random medicine. We are giving medicine which is coming from
We
a
have a
very
specific
old path.
medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have we also have trained doctors. We are not going to get the medicine from quack. So the government has approved an MD course in Ayurveda or Siddha. We have those graduates there. They study 10 years of these medicines, and we have to have a basic understanding and reliability among the people. Get their medicines. Try the form two groups. Give only allopathic system of medicine to one group, and find out the other group which gets an Ayurvedic medicine or Siddha medicine along with the allopathic medicine, or put one group with Ayurveda only, and find out what is the outcome in 10 days, in 28 days. This is a simple thing. This has to be done. If this can be done, we can find what are all the useless drugs in both the stream, what are the useful drugs in both the streams, and we can find give a remedy to the ailing society.
But I think this would have to be done with some supervision, or can just within a hospital can this be done, or we would need some approval?
Definitely, if it has to go to a large scale of population, if you are going to apply to a large scale of population, you need to go through Clinical Trial Registry of India. You have to register the trial in CTRI, and reputed institutions, medical institutions like AIMS or private institutions have to take this up study. They have to formulate a model. They have to have principal investigator, co-investigators, on all those things. There are set protocols which needs to be followed, and this can take, and we can do these small studies in 28 days time, in 56 days time. We can come out with good results, and we can find out what is working and what is not working, to find out, and we can give better solutions to people.
Yeah. And especially because this may take a long time, right? Like there may be multiple waves, and it's not like we are saying this is the final wave or something. So definitely, if some experiment is done now, that will help a lot in future waves and all, which will
definitely. And they have done certain things, and especially I would like to mention a small study which has been done with regards to Simha Kriya, which Isha has been offering during this pandemic, and it has been validated by Harvard University and University of Texas, and a couple of more medical universities. They have collaborated and done studies on Simha Kriya, and they have really found it really beneficial towards the COVID patients, admitted patients, increasing their blood saturations, as well as decreasing the levels of anxiety and stress in people affected with COVID, which in turn has affected in a good recovery, shorter recovery time and everything. And they have scientifically validated it. But although they have done it in a small scale study was done. It is a good thing taken in a right direction. It's a good thing to take it in the right direction. Simha Kriya, now we are confidently telling that it has a scientific validity. And I have been putting people who are getting admitted in my hospitals with, they have to do Simha Kriya. So I'm making it a routine for them. Just before food, they have to do it 3 times a day. And when the patient sees, when I put the pulse oximeter probe in his hand, and when he has 90, 85, 87, 88, 90 saturations, and suddenly when he finishes the Simha Kriya, he just sees his saturation, it rises to 92, 93, 94.
Wow.
He gets confidence by himself, right? So he gets a confidence, and his anxiety levels reduce. He gets both the doctor also gets doctor and the patient, both of us get confident in overcoming this disease. So in this way, I personally experience it is a good tool. It's a good. This is a small way of integrating the medicines. So the yogic system of medicine as well as the allopathic system of medicine are getting together here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a classical homeopath as my close friend, Miss Prema Balakrishnan. Dr. Prema is there, and she is also very good at her very good at her studies and in her field. And we sort of used to talk over phone, and she gets people over online. And whenever we don't have options for a particular patient, I just start them with some medicines, with some homeopathic medicines, and few of them get over the crisis. And I don't know, I can't attribute it with one patient or two patients. I can't attribute this effect towards that medicine, but still the patient is coming out. I'm feeling well, and the patient is also feeling well. So without any side effects, I can the patient is coming out, and we are happy. And this is the scale in which individual doctors can operate.
No, great. So and yeah, it's good you mentioned Simha Kriya and yoga, because that's also one more thing that pranayam in general, a lot of people would have adopted now. So you are right. It is also an integration taking place. And I think that's wonderful that there is, in the home level, there is a lot of integration already happening. That's what I think in India, especially. Yeah. Unfortunately, the doctors should come together, because it makes it easier for us also. And at the end, they want to provide ease, right, to us. So if I'm already doing yoga and all, and then the doctor level say I'm getting clashing information, it's very difficult. Because
actually, not all doctors, not all mainstream doctors are against
they are not
practicing yoga and all. Are not, but the statutory bodies of the medical doctors, they always take all these medicines, all these alternate streams of medicines, always with a pinch of salt. So like yet the yogic systems of medicine, the natural way to cure the body with yogic practices are gaining a lot of attention worldwide. And even for respiratory diseases, we have many studies which have clearly proven the benefit of yoga. And now the scientific community is getting softer over these yogic practices. And they are going to get, they don't have any issues with people practicing yoga, and they just want to ensure that he is practicing a proper form of yoga, and they just want to ensure that it doesn't harm his system. That's all. They promote breathing practices in their, a lot of practitioners, medical practitioners have started promoting yoga and breathing exercises as an adjuvant towards the treatment, and they are finding it really useful to their patients. So this is the way that Siddha system and Ayurvedic system has to follow through. The yogic system of medicine, they have to follow through this, and they have to gain the confidence of the medical practitioners by undergoing scientific trials.
That's a very interesting point, because you've just added yogic system of healing, which is very interesting. It is true, because even the Ayush word has Ayurveda and yoga. The Y stands for yoga. But somehow when we think of traditional medicine, we are only thinking of Ayurveda, Siddha, Homeopathy. We are not thinking of yoga as a potent tool, which is very nice that you've just brought it in, and definitely is. I think we in our minds, we club yoga with physical exercise and those things, but you are very right that yoga falls under this also, where it is a, like a system of health, we can call it. So Yeah, that's a very crucial point actually.